I know why you are here. I know the feeling that wakes you at 3 in the morning, that invisible weight pressing down on your chest when the house is completely silent. You stare at the ceiling in the dark, and your mind begins the same exhausting mathematical dance. You calculate the bills, the due dates, the mounting interest, and the devastating realization that despite working so hard for so many decades, the money seems to turn into dust slipping through your fingers. You are in your 40s, 50s, perhaps well into your 60s or 70s, and you look back wondering where the harvest is. You feel a profound exhaustion, a weariness that goes bone deep. It is not just physical fatigue, it is the mental exhaustion of surviving day by day, feeling like a stranger in your own life, trapped in a cycle of financial slavery. The shame can be unbearable. The quiet, unspoken shame of feeling that you have not been able to protect or provide for your family the way you always dreamed you would. But I want you to listen to me very carefully right now. Let my voice be the anchor in your storm. This exhaustion, this heavy chain of debt you are dragging behind you, it is not your final destination. It is merely a harsh winter. And the fact that you are hearing these words right now is no coincidence. It is the exact moment the universe has chosen to hand you the key to your liberation. You are about to discover how to clear your name, reclaim your dignity, and step into the peace of mind that belongs to you. For thousands of years, the ancient Jewish sages have understood a fundamental truth about the flow of wealth and provision. They survived empires, crises, and exiles, yet they always managed to rebuild and multiply their prosperity. How? Because they possessed a deeply rooted understanding of how money truly behaves. Today, I am going to reveal to you one of their most sacred financial principles, the law of paying yourself first. Society has taught you the exact opposite. Society tells you that when you receive your hard-earned money, you must immediately pay the credit card, pay the bank, pay the merchant, and pay everyone else who holds a claim over you. And only if something is miraculously left over, you might keep a fraction for yourself. But there is never anything left over, is there? The ancient wisdom teaches that this modern approach is a fundamental violation of the laws of abundance. When you pay everyone else first and leave yourself with nothing, you're sending a powerful subconscious message to the universe and to yourself that your labor has no value for you. You become a mere conduit, a pipe that water flows through but remains dry. The sages teach that you must honor the vessel that receives the blessing. You are that vessel. Paying yourself first is not an act of selfishness. It is the ultimate act of reverence for the life and energy you expend to bring provision into your home. Before the creditor takes his share, you must separate a portion, no matter how small, and keep it. This creates a seed, and in the ancient laws of the harvest, a farmer who eats all his seeds will soon starve, but a farmer who guards his seeds will eventually own the entire field. By paying yourself first, you are building a psychological and spiritual fortress. You are declaring that you are no longer a slave to the system, but a master of your own harvest. But I know the immediate thought that crosses your mind. You are thinking about the overwhelming reality of your current obligations. You have carried this burden alone for far too long, absorbing the stress, shielding your loved ones from the harsh truth of the numbers, and feeling completely paralyzed by the sheer volume of what you owe. The weariness of not seeing a way out can blind you. Yet there is a secret, an ancient code of numerical clarity that the wise have used for millennia to attract and manage immense wealth. Wealth does not flow into chaos. It demands order. If you continue to close your eyes out of fear, if you keep neglecting the exact numbers of your household, the silent thief of compound interest will mercilessly consume the most precious years of life you have left. It will devour the years you are meant to spend in joyful peace with your children and grandchildren. This is precisely why a profound solution was carefully forged for you. It is called the Family Debt Freedom Plan. It is not just a tool. It is a meticulously crafted map designed to guide you out of the desert of scarcity and restore absolute peace to your home. This map is supported by 4 incredibly powerful pillars to ensure you never feel lost again. It begins with the Start Here Read First foundation, guiding your mindset and immediate actions. Then, it walks with you through the step-by-step instruction, illuminating the exact path ahead. It sustains your discipline with the weekly financial planner, and it protects your entire household's future through the monthly family planner. The time to stop bleeding your life force into endless debt is right now. The decision to break these ancestral chains must be made today, because time is the one sacred resource we can never multiply. I invite you to act with quiet resolve. Simply direct your eyes to the QR code on your screen, or gently touch the first fixed comment below this video to access your map of transformation. Let us delve deeper into how this transformation actually unfolds in the life of someone just like you. Consider the story of a man we will call Abraham. He was 58 years old, a man of good heart, a hard worker who had always tried to do the right thing. Yet, through a series of unexpected medical bills, economic downturns, and perhaps a lack of early financial guidance, he found himself drowning. His nights were exactly like yours, filled with the terrifying silence of unpaid bills. He felt his dignity slipping away every time his card was declined at the grocery store, or every time he had to invent an excuse to his grandchildren about why they could not go on a simple trip. Abraham felt that his life's work had amounted to nothing but a mountain of paper that dictated his every move. But one evening, broken and exhausted, he decided he would no longer be a victim of his circumstances. He embraced the ancient Jewish rule. He realized that his lack of financial boundaries was not a sign of generosity, but a lack of respect for his own life's energy. He began to apply the discipline of paying himself first. The first month, it was a terrifying leap of faith. The creditors were calling, the pressure was immense, but when he received his modest income, before looking at a single bill, he took a small percentage and placed it entirely out of reach. He paid himself. He honored his own existence. In doing so, something miraculous happened in his mind. For the first time in over a decade, he did not feel completely depleted. He had a seed. With the remaining funds, he used the exact principles of clarity and order that are laid out in the tools I shared with you. He stopped hiding from the numbers. He laid every debt, every interest rate, and every obligation out in the open. The fear began to shrink because the monster was no longer hiding in the dark. It was just math on a piece of paper. Abraham began a fierce domestic discipline. He learned to distinguish between true needs and the illusions of necessity that the modern world pushes upon us. He understood that true wealth is not the abundance of possessions, but the absence of crushing obligations. Before the sun sets on your resolve today, I urge you not to let the thief of procrastination steal this moment of clarity from you. The window to change your destiny is open right now. Remember to seek the path in the first fixed comment below before the day ends, so you can secure your map to freedom and return to a life of peace. As Abraham continued his journey, the shift in his mentality began to alter his physical reality. Because he was paying himself first, his emergency seed grew. When the car broke down 3 months later, an event that previously would have sent him spiraling into panic and more credit card debt, he simply paid for the repair from his own reserved seed. The profound sense of empowerment he felt in that moment brought tears to his eyes. He was no longer a beggar to the banks, he was his own provider. This is the essence of the Jewish wisdom of wealth. It is about creating a buffer between you and the chaos of the world. It is about building a wall of security around your family so thick that no economic storm can breach it. Abraham began to negotiate his debts from a place of quiet strength, not desperate panic. Because his mind was organized, because he had a weekly and monthly vision of his family's finances, he knew exactly what he could offer. Over the next 2 years, the mountain of debt began to crumble. It did not vanish overnight by magic, but it melted away through the persistent, undeniable power of ancient wisdom applied with daily discipline. You must understand that the journey out of debt is profoundly spiritual. When you are heavily indebted, your spirit is fragmented. A piece of your mind belongs to the mortgage company, another piece to the credit card issuer, another to the auto loan. You are scattered. As you begin to systematically eliminate these chains, you are literally calling your spirit back to yourself. You become whole again. The exhaustion begins to lift, replaced by a quiet, enduring vitality. You will notice that your posture changes. You will look your loved ones in the eye with a renewed sense of pride. You are stepping into the role of the wise elder, the patriarch or matriarch, who not only survived the desert but learned how to find water beneath the sand. Think about the legacy you are building. You are not meant to leave this world leaving behind a complicated web of financial burdens for your children to untangle. You are meant to leave an inheritance of peace, of wisdom, and of an unbreakable financial foundation. By learning these ancient principles, by applying the code of clarity and paying yourself first, you are breaking a generational curse of scarcity. You will teach your children and your grandchildren the laws of multiplication. They will look at you not with pity for your struggles, but with profound reverence for your triumph. They will say that you were the one who turned the tide. You were the one who drew a line in the sand and said that financial slavery ends here, with me. The dignity that awaits you is greater than any material wealth. It is the dignity of a quiet mind, a secure home, and a future that is entirely your own. Walk this path with courage. Embrace the wisdom of the ancients. Bring order to your house, and watch as the universe responds by opening the floodgates of true, lasting prosperity. Begin your journey to total financial freedom and peace of mind today. When you begin to view yourself not as a victim of the economy, but as the trusted guardian of your family's provision, a profound shift occurs in the atmosphere of your home. The ancient sages understood that wealth is not merely a collection of coins or numbers in a bank account. Wealth is a living, breathing energy. It is a reflection of order, discipline, and intentionality. When you took that first step, when you decided to honor your own life force by paying yourself first, you sent a ripple through the fabric of your reality. You proved that you are ready to be a master of your harvest, rather than a servant to your debts. But the journey of the wise does not stop at preservation. The next step is the sacred art of multiplication and the establishment of an impenetrable domestic discipline. Listen closely, because this is where most people falter. Society has conditioned us to believe that discipline is a form of deprivation. We are told that living on a budget, tracking our numbers, and saying no to momentary impulses is a kind of punishment. This is a tragic deception. The ancient Jewish wisdom teaches that boundaries are not prisons, they are fortresses. Think of the walls of a great ancient city. Those walls were not built to keep the citizens trapped inside. They were built to keep the enemies out. Your financial discipline is the wall you build around your family's peace. When you utilize the tools provided in the map we spoke of, when you sit down with your weekly financial planner and your monthly family planner, you are not restricting your life. You are standing guard at the gates of your temple. You are actively deciding what is allowed to enter your sanctuary and what must be turned away. I know the weariness you feel when you think about your age. You look in the mirror and you see the silver in your hair, the lines etched by decades of hard work, and the whisper of fear tells you that it is too late. It tells you that the time for building wealth has passed, and you are destined to just survive the remaining years. Do not listen to that voice. It is the voice of scarcity, and it is a liar. In the traditions of the wise, age is deeply revered. It is considered the season of supreme clarity. Remember that the greatest patriarchs and matriarchs of history often began their most significant journeys well into their later years. Moses was 80 years old when he was called to lead his people out of slavery. Your age is not a liability, it is your greatest asset. You possess something the young do not have. You have the profound, hard-earned wisdom of experience. You know the true cost of things. You know that flashy material possessions do not bring lasting joy. You are perfectly positioned to apply this system with a level of focus and maturity that will accelerate your results far beyond your expectations. Let us speak of the profound law of multiplication. In the ancient world, it was understood that a seed cannot multiply if it is constantly being dug up, examined, and consumed. It requires darkness, stability, and time. When you organize your debts, when you follow the step-by-step instruction of your plan, you are planting seeds in stable ground. Every time you negotiate an interest rate down, every time you choose to bypass a fleeting desire to honor your long-term peace, you are watering that seed. At first, you will not see the results above the soil. The numbers might still look intimidating. The creditors may still seem large. But beneath the surface, the roots are taking hold. You are rewiring decades of mental conditioning. You are replacing the chaotic frequency of panic with the calm, steady rhythm of certainty. You must forgive yourself. This is a crucial step in the architecture of your freedom. I want you to take a deep breath right now and release the immense guilt you have been carrying. Forgive yourself for the financial mistakes of the past. Forgive yourself for the investments that did not work out, for the times you trusted the wrong people, for the moments you used credit to bridge a gap you could not cross. You did the best you could with the awareness you had at the time. You were trying to protect your family, trying to maintain a standard of living, trying to survive in a system designed to extract your wealth. But the season of ignorance is over. You hold the key to freedom now. Holding on to the shame of past debts is like trying to sail a ship with the anchor still dropped. You must pull up the anchor. Acknowledge the past, bless the lessons it taught you, and turn your face entirely toward the horizon of your restoration. As you walk this path of domestic discipline, you will experience a shift in how you experience the world. You will walk into a store, and instead of feeling the anxiety of wanting things you cannot afford, you will feel a serene detachment. You will realize that the truest luxury in this world is not a new vehicle or a designer label. The truest luxury is a quiet mind. It is the ability to lay your head on your pillow at night and know that you owe no man anything, save for the obligation to love one another. It is the joy of knowing that your home is a sanctuary of order, not a house of cards waiting to collapse under the next financial breeze. Imagine a future that is not so far away. Imagine a Sunday afternoon a few years from now. You are sitting at a long wooden table. The air is filled with the smell of good food and the sound of your children and grandchildren laughing. You look around that table, and your heart swells with an indescribable peace. You know in the quiet depth of your soul that the food on the table is fully paid for. The roof over your head is secure. But more importantly, you know that you have given these people the greatest gift of all, the gift of your presence, untainted by worry. You have broken the chains of financial slavery so that they will never have to wear them. You have taught them the ancient codes of provision, the sacred nature of paying oneself first, and the undeniable power of numerical clarity. You have become the wise elder, the root of a magnificent, thriving family tree. This is the promise of the journey you are embarking upon. It is not an overnight illusion. It is a steady, deliberate march out of the desert. The start here read, First foundation is your compass, and your own unbreakable will is the engine. The universe is endlessly abundant, and it rushes to support those who are willing to bring order to their vessels. You are worthy of a life defined by dignity, stability, and profound joy. Do not let the shadows of yesterday dictate the light of your tomorrow. Step forward with courage, embrace the discipline that sets you free, and claim the peace that is rightfully yours. The time of wandering is over. The time of your great harvest begins now. Begin your journey to total financial freedom and peace of mind today.
Editar. El infográfico presenta esta historia no solo como un romance entre Alejandro Montenegro y Valeria Garza, sino como un proceso de transformación psicológica, social y moral. Al principio, Alejandro aparece como un empresario acostumbrado a controlar cada aspecto de su vida. La cláusula del testamento amenaza su poder y activa en él una respuesta basada en la urgencia, el cálculo y el miedo a perder lo que considera suyo. Por eso propone un matrimonio por conveniencia, convencido de que el dinero puede convertir cualquier necesidad humana en una negociación. Su aparente seguridad es, en realidad, una defensa emocional que le permite evitar la vulnerabilidad y mantener a las personas a distancia. Valeria representa una fuerza completamente diferente. Aunque ha perdido a su padre, su hogar y la estabilidad económica de su familia, conserva algo que Alejandro no puede comprar: dignidad. Su presencia en la mansión abandonada simboliza el encuentro entre dos mundos opuestos. Él posee riqueza, influencia y reconocimiento, pero vive emocionalmente aislado. Ella se encuentra en una situación de extrema vulnerabilidad, pero mantiene una identidad firme, límites claros y una profunda conciencia de su propio valor. Esta contradicción explica por qué Alejandro se siente atraído y desconcertado por ella desde el principio. El matrimonio inicia como un contrato frío, construido desde la necesidad y la conveniencia. Sin embargo, la convivencia obliga a ambos a mirar más allá de las apariencias. Los pequeños actos de cuidado, como el té que Valeria prepara cuando Alejandro sufre una migraña, muestran que la confianza no surge de grandes declaraciones, sino de gestos constantes que reducen la distancia emocional. Alejandro comienza a descubrir una forma de afecto que no depende de obediencia, admiración o interés económico. Valeria, por su parte, observa que detrás del empresario arrogante existe un hombre incapaz de reconocer el daño que ha causado porque nunca había sido obligado a contemplar sus consecuencias humanas. La revelación sobre la familia Garza transforma el conflicto romántico en un dilema ético. Alejandro comprende que su éxito empresarial fue construido, en parte, sobre la destrucción de otras personas. La historia expone así el impacto social del poder corporativo cuando las decisiones financieras ignoran la memoria, el esfuerzo y la dignidad de quienes están detrás de una empresa. Valeria deja de ser vista como una mujer sin hogar y recupera su verdadera identidad como heredera de una historia familiar que fue borrada por la ambición del grupo Montenegro. La culpa de Alejandro solo adquiere valor cuando se convierte en responsabilidad. En lugar de limitarse a pedir perdón o entregar dinero, comienza a reparar el daño mediante acciones. Cuida de Valeria, modifica su conducta y trabaja para devolverle los viñedos que pertenecían a su familia. Esta diferencia es fundamental, porque la redención no consiste en sentirse mal por el pasado, sino en aceptar las consecuencias y actuar para reconstruir lo que fue destruido. Catalina simboliza el poder basado en las apariencias, los celos y la manipulación. La gala benéfica funciona como el escenario donde todas las máscaras caen. Catalina intenta utilizar la verdad como un arma de humillación, pero Alejandro decide confesar públicamente el origen del matrimonio y asumir su responsabilidad. Al proteger la dignidad de Valeria y reconocer los errores de su empresa, demuestra que ya no actúa únicamente para conservar su reputación. Por primera vez, elige la verdad aunque pueda perder el control de la compañía. Los viñedos restaurados representan justicia, memoria y renacimiento. Alejandro no le entrega a Valeria un regalo, sino que devuelve algo que nunca debió ser arrebatado. El amor entre ambos se vuelve posible cuando la relación deja de estar basada en una deuda, un contrato o una diferencia de poder. Valeria puede perdonarlo porque reconoce un arrepentimiento acompañado de cambios reales, mientras Alejandro aprende que amar también significa renunciar al control y aceptar que la otra persona es libre de elegir. La historia concluye mostrando que la dignidad no depende de la riqueza, que el poder sin empatía puede destruir vidas y que la culpa puede convertirse en una fuerza transformadora, cuando conduce a la reparación. Más que presentar el amor como una solución mágica, el relato lo muestra como el resultado de la verdad, la responsabilidad y el esfuerzo por sanar las heridas del pasado. Alejandro y Valeria no construyen su futuro ignorando lo ocurrido, sino enfrentándolo juntos y transformando las pérdidas en una oportunidad de reconstrucción.